Hey, what's going on, guys? Omega Killer 44 here, and today we're gonna do a little weird video called the top 10 bizarre alibis criminals use to explain their crimes. Alibi used to mean some sort of evidence that proved a person was elsewhere when a criminal act had taken place. However, thanks mostly to police shows, the term has become so prevalent that both the Oxford and the Cambridge Dictionary consider it informally an excuse for something bad. That prevalence has made most criminals think they will always need to have an alibi at the ready. In some cases, they were better off keeping their mouths shut. Coming in at number 10, dieting. In July 2010, U.S. Army Reserve Sergeant Rashad Valmont walked into the Fort Dillon office of his supervisor, Master Sergeant Pedro Mercado, and shot him 6 times. He then went looking for another superior, Sergeant Tracy Mosley, who fled when she heard the shots. When he couldn't find her, Valmont got in his car, drove to a nearby police station, and turned himself in. He was facing a premeditated murder charge, but during his trial, his lawyer William Gassera presented an odd reason for Valmont shooting his supervisor 6 times: his diet. Yeah, weird. According to Gassera, Valmont had been on a crash diet over the last few weeks and was suffering from diminished capacity. Furthermore, he claimed that Sergeant Mosley told Valmont to lose additional weight over the required minimum in order to be eligible for a course that the reserve sergeant wanted to attend. According to his attorney, all this effort left Valmont dehydrated, exhausted, and delirious. The prosecution painted a different picture. They said Valmont was a lazy soldier who had received several poor reviews in the past. The weight loss was necessary for him to meet standard military requirements, and Valmont finally snapped when Mercado denied him a vacation request. The jury did not buy the dieting defense, and Valmont was sentenced to a life without parole. Number 9, lycanthropy. I hope I said that right. One night in May 2011 at Timber Ridge Campground in Brownham Township, Ohio, a 20-year-old man named Thomas Stroup drank a lot of vodka and started getting into fights with other people. By the time deputies arrived, Stroup had left, but they didn't have to go far behind to find him. They found him passed out in his trailer, surrounded by swords, knives, and other bladed weapons. The deputies woke Stroup up and placed him under arrest when the man started to growl at them. When he did not attempt to speak, Stroup could only muster a few slurred words in a fake Russian accent. After the man sobered up a bit, he calmly explained the reason for his late-night violent outburst. He was a werewolf. He was scratched by a wolf on a trip to Germany, and he would now turn into a monster and go on the attack when the moon's out. As a strange side note, Stroup also warned one of the arresting deputies that he was going to kill the deputy's cousin, Keith, even though the deputy had no cousin by that name. Number 8, sleepwalking. One night on January 16th, 1997, Phoenix, Arizona resident Scott Falater stabbed his wife, Yarmila, 44 times. He was quickly charged with murder and made no attempt to deny his actions. But Falater claimed that he'd been sleepwalking throughout the entire ordeal. So how do you know you did it, though? That's the problem. According to Falater, during his somnambulistic state, he believed he was repairing the pool, except that he was really using a hunting knife instead of a screwdriver. When his wife approached to check up on him, she startled Felter, who began stabbing her. Okay. Number 7, nutmeg. In accordance with Swedish laws, the following 28-year-old criminal has remained unnamed, although he was referred to by the media as the Llama Man. This is because on previous occasion he began accosting strangers in the city of Galv and spitting on their faces like a llama. The Llama Man faced charges of harassment after sending rude comments and death threats via text to two sisters. During his trial in 2012, it was revealed that he had a violent outburst in a hospital and was responsible for assaulting 2 guards. When the Llama Man was acting wildly, hospital staff attempted to sedate him. This only enraged the man, who attempted to make a break for it. In the process, he tried to strangle one guard and dislocate the leg of another. His reason for his actions? A nutmeg-induced frenzy. Nutmeg contains myrcene, a psychoactive drug, which the Llama Man blamed for his rage. He was eventually sentenced for a multitude of charges. Number 6, bondage. At first glance, Rebecca Bargy's explanation for her husband's death in 2008 seemed plausible. They were just a couple of consenting adults who liked to engage in bondage, whatever that means, which resulted in James Barry's accidental asphyxiation. According to her version of the story, Rebecca's first gagged her husband, taped over his mouth and eyes, and then wrapped a bandage over his head. Afterwards, she tied his arms and legs behind his back. Ew. Rebecca claimed this was something the couple did regularly, and that James consented to all of this. This was believable. Detectives, however, found it harder to believe the events that followed. After her husband had been gagged and immobilized, Rebecca left home for 20 hours. Moreover, police suspected she left so that she could meet another man in a local motel. By the time she came back, James Bargy had died of suffocation. Number 5, The Matrix. In 2000, 27-year-old San Francisco State University student Vadim confessed to a grisly crime. He had killed, skinned, and chopped up his 47-year-old landlady, Ella Wong, and who'd scattered her body parts across town. Vadim made the grim confession after being picked up by mall security guards for wandering around with a knife. Given the amount of meth the Swiss student had on him, police believed the murder to be a drug-induced killing. However, Vadim had a more novel explanation. He was afraid of getting sucked into the Matrix. Yeah. Number 4, salad. That doesn't look like salad to me. That looks like weed in a bag. Compared to other entries on this list, 26-year-old Richard Rutherford's crimes seem small time. However, the sheer audacity of the alibi he proved in his defense prompted to St. Mary's Police Department in Georgia to make a Facebook post mocking his braziness. In 2015, Rutherford was pulled over by the police during a traffic stop. Officers then found a sandwich bag in his car with 455 grams. That's 1 pound of marijuana. Told you it didn't look like salad. Instead of simply admitting to his deed, Rutherford actually tried to convince trained law enforcement officials that the green leafy stuff was a salad he just purchased from the store. But I don't think salad smells like weed. So if you open up the bag and you sniff it, it's not going to smell like a salad, it's going to smell like weed. Think these officers are stupid? It's hard to say whether Rutherford was trying to trick police into thinking the marijuana was actually salad, or he was suggesting that the salesman gave him cannabis instead of his desired salad greens. Either way, cops didn't buy it, and Rutherford was convicted and sent to jail for drug possession. But weed is legal, though. I mean, it's not federally legal, but it's legal. Number 3, Bollywood. The Indian Bollywood. Or Indian Hollywood. Oh, number 2 is going to be hilarious. Romantic movies can often be unrealistic. They tend to show us that persistence always pays off, and that nothing solves relationship troubles faster than over-the-top crazy gestures that would carry significant consequences in the real world. One man used this exact argument at his defense against 2 stalking charges in Australia in 2015. Sandesh Balga, a 32-year-old security guard, originally from India, was accused of stalking one woman in 2012 for 18 months and another in 2013 for 4 months. Even after they told him to leave them alone, Balga kept calling and texting them, even approaching them in public and repeatedly referring to the women as his girlfriends. Balga's lawyer insisted that the security guard's dodginess came curiosity of Bollywood movies, which taught men that going after a woman over and over again will eventually make her say yes. He also claimed that Balaga's behavior was quite normal for Indians. The judge agreed to an extent. He let Balaga go on the condition that he behave himself in the next 5 years. Will you not? You're scratching your eye. You're going to scratch it out. Sorry. Number 2 is probably the best on this list. Obama. In 2015, Pamela Dawes was arrested for paying at... Yeah, I'm dying. No, I'm just kidding. Paying at a store with a counterfeit $5 bill. Both the clerk and the police officer on scene immediately spotted the bill as fake. It was clearly printed on normal paper using a regular printer, and the two sides were glued together poorly. When the cops searched Dawn's handbag, he found another fake $100 bill, which wasn't even printed using green ink. The woman never denied printing the counterfeit bills. When she found herself under arrest, Dawn replies, "I don't give an SHIT. All these other BITCHES get to print money. So I can too." Later on, when Downs was asked to elaborate on what she was talking about, she said that President Obama passed a new law which allowed people on a fixed income to print their own money. After police found a Walmart receipt for a new printer and copy paper in her bag, they realized Dawn was serious. They searched her apartment and found up to $50,000 in counterfeit money. The law Downs was referring to came from an article from satirical publication, The Skunk. According to the piece, Obama's plans for the economy was to distribute a printing press to every American so that they could print U.S. currency in their own home. Downs was charged with counterfeiting and criminal simulation. God, you can get arrested for everything. And number 1, evil twin. There have been more than a few people who've tried the evil twin defense in order to get away with various dirty deeds. The reasoning is that the police and prosecution had to determine exactly which twin was responsible for the crime, as they cannot send the innocent twin to prison, unless they can establish guilt beyond a responsible doubt. The judge has declared both men innocent. In reality, though, the strategy really works because the innocent twin often has an alibi. In 2013, Colorado war hero Aaron Lucas was charged with sex crimes against minors and tried to blame his brother Brian. Pennsylvania robber Stephen Felton also attempted to pass the blame for 10 heists to his evil twin. Neither strategy worked, and the men received 20 and 60 years of jail time, respectively. Meaning, Brian got 20 years and Stephen got 60 years. Interestingly enough, the tactic worked in 2009. Drug trafficking case in Malaysia. Either Sathis or Sabarish Raj was caught transporting 166 kilometers. That's 364 pounds of cannabis, which is marijuana. That's a lot of weed. And 3.7 pounds of opium. A conviction meant mandatory execution. For selling drugs, you're going to get killed. Fortunately for the brothers, police didn't know they were dealing with twins and failed to note which Raj drove the car and entered the house where the drugs were stashed. During the trial, each brother blamed the other one. The judge acknowledged that one of the twins was undoubtedly guilty, but it was impossible to determine which one. Both brothers walked away free. One of them was going to get killed for selling drugs. You can tell I live in America. Because if you sell drugs, you're going to jail. You're not going to get shot. You're not going to get shot in the head. Oh my god. Anyway, I got this off list first. I think all my lists are going to come from there because I got some cool lists. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Peace.